Let's talk about something that's becoming all too common in our children. That's being that fear of failure. More and more kids are avoiding activities, sports, or even challenges in school because they're getting afraid of getting it wrong. But what's behind this avoidance, and what can we do about it? Well, fear of failure is not just about missing the goal or, scoring poorly on a test. For many children, this actually manifests in behaviours that parents are seeing every day. Maybe you've noticed your child flat out refusing to try something new, and that might be like a sport or a hobby or something. They might have even initially seemed excited about it. Or perhaps it's that your child has demonstrated some, emotional outbursts when they were faced with something that was a manageable challenge, like a difficult math problem or, a disagreement with a friend. And that these behaviours, they might actually be becoming more common than we realise in children. Could your child potentially have a fear of failure? Well, here are a few examples of how fear of failure may be showing up in your child. So there are things like avoiding new activities. So this might be that your child may not want to join a new club or take up a hobby because they're scared that they're not going to be good at it. It could be that they're refusing to participate in sports. So many children lose interest in competitive activities, preferring not to try rather than taking the risk of losing. It could be that they're overreacting to small mistakes. So maybe it's minor setbacks that are triggering them to be demonstrating some extreme frustration or potentially some emotional meltdowns. Perfectionism. So your child might be spending an excessive amount of time trying to make something perfect rather than actually finishing the task. They're using this perfectionism as an avoidance mechanism. It could be that they're making excuses. So they might say, I didn't want to go play anyway. And they're doing this to potentially avoid admitting fear or discomfort. It could be procrastination. So maybe delaying homework or projects that can actually be a good way of them avoiding that potential failure. It might be frequent complaints of boredom. So when children say they're bored with activities that they used to love, it may be a way for them to be able to disengage and to avoid judgment. Low risk choices might be another option that you're seeing. So this is when they stick to activities that they already know that they can do well and avoid anything that feels a bit uncertain. When kids become afraid of failing, they start to associate mistakes with a lack of ability instead of seeing them as opportunities for learning. Children begin to see their self-worth tied to their success. And this is then that idea of getting something wrong becoming too threatening for them. So psychologically, this is connected to what we call that fixed mindset, where children believe that their abilities are static, and it just really then discourages their wanting to try anything further and improve with any sort of effort. This mindset doesn't just discourage them from trying new things, it reduces their motivation to really want to put in effort. And we know that effort is the foundation of growth, whether it's in sports, academics, or any sort of personal behaviour or endeavour that they're wanting to try and reach. Research shows that children who fear failure are more likely to develop anxiety, low self-esteem, and perfectionist tendencies. So over time, they may avoid not just sports or activities, but challenging life opportunities, impacting their confidence and their resilience. The message that they're internalizing in these moments is, if I can't do it perfectly, why try at all? And that's a really dangerous belief for them to be carrying into adulthood. If they fear getting it wrong, that's actually going to stunt their ability to be able to grow, to try and take some of those manageable risks and to become resilient in the face of adversity. So let's look at some examples of how this plays out in real life. So your child might say, "I'm not good at math," after struggling with just a few problems, and then they'll avoid doing their homework. After losing a race at school, they may flat out refuse to participate in the next sports day. They could spend hours working on a school project, constantly revising it, and then never really want to turn it in because they fear that it's not good enough. When they're invited to a birthday party, they might say they don't want to go, even though deep down they actually do, but they're worried that they might not fit in or they might not enjoy it. If they get a low grade, they might react with extreme frustration or even tears, rather than seeing it as a chance to learn. Your child could stop attending a really beloved dance class that they've been going to for years. They think that they're not as good as the other kids there. When they try a new game or activity, they might just simply refuse and claim that they're just not interested, when in reality, they're just simply scared that they might be bad at it. They might constantly compare themselves to others. So this could sound like them saying things like, "I'll never be as good as them." And this could then result in them losing motivation to try at all. How children cope with the stress of potential failure plays a critical role in whether they overcome their fear or remain trapped by it. Healthy coping strategies involve recognizing mistakes as a normal part of the learning process, while unhealthy strategies revolve around avoidance and perfectionism. So, as parents, how do you help? Well, it's important to recognize these behaviors and help your child to understand that mistakes are something to celebrate and nothing to be fearful of, as everyone is just perfectly imperfect. So when we shift the conversation from being perfect to learning and growing, we actually give our children the space to be able to overcome their fear and thrive. By focusing on effort and the process and the journey that they've been going through, rather than the outcome of the achievement, you're helping your child to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to their self-esteem. Over time, this growth mindset builds resilience. It builds that motivation and the understanding that their abilities can improve with effort. For more tips on supporting your child's development, visit my website, where you'll find videos, articles, and lots of resources to support you.